I'm very happy for this question, Charles, because I'm going to introduce something which we can even discuss over Rekindle in one of your future sessions,
Sure,
which
uncle.
is the superiority of narrative theology over systematic theology.
Wow.
Now, this was when we were in Singapore.
Mhm.
A small Japanese group of Christians, about 20 of them, 10 of them knew the Lord, 10 were sitting on the fence. And the lady, the Japanese lady married to a Singaporean Chinese, he asked me to do a Bible study at Christmas time. I did
Mhm.
something quite unusual, and that opened my eyes to a way of reading the Bible. I took the genealogy of Jesus in Matthew 1 and took all the famous names like Abraham, Isaac, and so on, and showed them their flaws, their shame, whereas the
Mhm.
four foreign women who are mentioned there come out with flying colors. Then I
Mhm.
come to Jesus' mother, Mary, who was pregnant before she was married. So there were several mothers in the little town of Nazareth who told their little boys, don't play with this boy, we don't know who his father is. And then he's baptized with repenting sinners. That is, if you watch Jesus being baptized from a distance, you would also come to the conclusion that he's a repenting sinner. And
Mhm.
in his ministry, he was a friend of all kinds of wrong people, shameful people. And then he is crucified stark naked on the cross. Although we have loincloth in the crucifix normally for modesty's sake. But
Mhm.
the Romans wanted to humiliate their victims. And they concluded the study with Hebrews 12:2. He endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Immediately after I finished the study, this gentleman comes to me. I know this couple. His wife has even translated my messages from English to Japanese. He tells me, for the first time in my life, Jesus died for my shame. And it suddenly dawned on me the same question that you raised. The idea of guilt can come only to people who are taught
Mhm.
that God is holy. And
Mhm.
that teaching is available only in Judaism and in Christianity,
Mhm.
not in Hinduism, not in Islam, not in Buddhism.
Mhm.
But what is the first symptom in Genesis 3? Shame.
Same. Yes.
Ah.
Mhm.
So, what I'm trying to say is read the Bible narratively. Even my development of the doctrine of the Trinity was done narratively, if you see. I did not go to some New Testament epistles, say
Mhm.
Ephesians 4 or something like that. But the whole idea is history precedes theology. That's the conclusion to which I have come. Whereas we
Wow.
have put theology ahead of history,
Mhm.
and that is the problem. And I mean, there are good books on shame as well. I mean, I tell you, written by Christians.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
whether they related it to the crucifixion, I am not very sure.
Wow.
I'm
That
reading,
is that
struggling
is
through.
very insightful, uncle.
I think that is something. Have you accepted yourself as you are? Have you wondered why you are not taller or shorter or fairer or darker? People are
Mhm.
unable to, particularly young
Mhm.
people, when they
Mhm.
go through that period of extreme self consciousness.
Right.
And this is a great way of beginning to share Christ. That
Wonderful.
Christ accepts you as you are. He created you. Going a step further, Charles, I even suggest to Christians that they should thank God for making them in His image. We don't
Mhm.
do that at all. We only talk about saving us from sin. Hare, that we are starting with Genesis 3. Let's start with Genesis 1.
One.
And Psalm 8, verses 3 to 5. In verse 5, David says, you have made him a little lower than Elohim, which, of course, in the Septuagint has been translated as angels, which is why some of our translations carry that. But even in our
Mhm.
own, Telugu has less than God, Malayalam has less than God.
Mhm.
And so I think we have to say that. So I say that we have to thank God for two things, for making us in his image, and then
Mhm.
Romans 8:26, for remaking us to be conformed to the image of Christ. That immediately gives you a self-worth. So a Christian should not suffer from low self-esteem. Theological foundations for addressing the problem of low self-esteem.